There were a lot of patterns that went viral this year. I've only made the 6-day start blanket, but I've seen these little frogs, dragons, and even this life-size octopus that's somehow anatomically accurate. I refuse to make all the baubles on the giant-ass octopus, but I'm finally hopping on the mushroom trend that came alive over the summer. It's Christmas time in New York, and I really want to show you the vibes, so let's rewind to 24 hours ago where this weekend all started.
Taking away my breath when you tell me that you think it's hopeless. Turning away again, telling you that we can work this out, but you rather drop it. It's a flop, better to leave it right. Normally hard to pull the trigger, but you did it. Yeah, you shot, accelerated the plot just to say I forgot about the pain and the struggles we went through. You got the chicken away, promising nothing but better days. Now you're giving up all that we made.
I don't know how much yarn I actually need because I haven't actually bought the pattern yet, but I have plenty of white yarn, so this should definitely cover me if it took more than this. Hopefully these two balls will take care of the underside of the cap. I have these two balls of ruby red yarn that will hopefully take care of the top. I brought a variety of hooks and my stitch markers, scissors. I also have some really pretty eyes, but I want to show you when I put it in. First, I need to buy the pattern. Right now, the pattern is selling for $6.66. That has to be on purpose because it's also not on sale right now. All right, we have him booted up onto my GoodNotes and we're just gonna get into it. 모든 게 다 통하니까 Feels like daydreaming 너와 있을 땐난 I love my life 사라지지만 나의 전부 그 chemistry 이상 너와 the two 힘들었을 때마다 늘 함께했던 너 yeah. 눈이 마주쳤던 그 순간 생각을 공유해 우리 둘 사이의 텔레파시 I definitely underestimated how big a toddler mushroom would end up because this is what we're looking at. I still need to stuff it so it is a little less rounded up on the top, but this is already the size of my hand. If the body is like 3 to 4 times tall, oh my god, this thing's gonna be like 2 foot tall. I'm also going to add the eyes at this point, but a couple of months ago, I got these colored eyes because I wanted to experiment with, not just black irises. It has a purple backing. I don't know if that means it's pink or... Nope. Okay, so they are all purple. And I'm just going to add these into my irises. I think it would make the mushroom really, really pop. For those of you who don't know how these irises came, because initially I thought irises just came as, it came this, but with the clear part as the actual color. Nope, it comes with these two parts. So you have the iris and then you slip whatever color you have back on there and it becomes a pink eye. I also grabbed a bag of cotton from the basement, but I literally have no idea how much cotton I would need, so I just brought all of this. And I don't know how much a toddler uses. Hopefully this should be enough, right? Behold. I really didn't expect it to be so bulbous. I thought it would be more of a round head, but I guess this kind of makes sense because the mushroom's head's got to go on top of it without covering everything. I will say I really do like the eyes. The quality is not immaculate only because, I don't know if you can see this, but there is a slight defect, imperfection, whatever, with the eye on the corner of his pupil. So I think I'm going to do to hide that because I don't really have the strength to ply the backing from the eye. What I want to do is I might put eyelashes, which I know isn't what the original looks like, but it might add some good detail. I'm not sure if this is actually the exact same shape I see in the picture because this is what mine looks like. Kind of tallish, almost like the size of my hand. And then this is what the picture looks like. It looks a little flatter than mine. I follow the pattern. I am 99% sure the stitches and everything are correct. So I just made the two little feet, and the way that the pattern is written, you can kind of see a slight shape to them. It's kind of indented and curved out, almost like a horn. And I'm at the point where I actually need to attach them together. Now,
most patterns, if not all, from any pattern I've ever seen in my life, they are written by right-handed people. If I follow the pattern the way it is now, this is what it's going to end up as. But I know that she wants them to actually look like this. So what I'm actually going to do, I actually have to modify the pattern a little bit just so the feet don't end up outwards, because they look a lot cuter when they are facing inwards, kind of like a cute little child. I really wish there were more patterns written for left-handed people, or at least alternatives given for when you're left-handed, so shapes turn out a little different, and the modifications you got to do when you're left-handed, just they're a little bit different. Most of the time it's not a problem. Most patterns are actually symmetrical. But things like this, as a left-handed person, is something you really got to be careful about. After a little bit of experimenting and going back and forth with the legs to kind of just shape them in the right direction, I think I finally got to where they are both facing inwards for the most part. It's a little hard to see until I actually put it all together. And I really want to get it right on the first try, because frogging Chanel yarn is the biggest pain in the ass. And I don't know if you can really tell if you look at the yarn, but it's a little frayed just because I've been pulling it in and out. Word of advice, if you're going to be experimenting, put in the stitch marker where the row is supposed to start and end, because I kind of lost my way and I was kind of guesstimating at some point. But I think we're finally it. I think we're there. Hopefully. It's such a subtle foot shape, so it's kind of hard to tell just by looking at it, even though this is kind of what it's going to be at the end, position-wise. But we're gonna get at least the first row done and then judge from there. Well, I rolled the dice and I did not get lucky, because if you look at the feet, they are facing the exact same direction right now, actually. So I'm going to try to undo another 3 stitches and hope that that's what we need. Second time's the charm. And we have the feet pointing in the correct direction. Just a little bit of trial and error later. It is so subtle you can barely tell, but I'm sure when you actually stuff it, you will see the shape. We're on row 25 of the body, and it is looking shapely. But I am so tired. My shoulders are... Ugh. It is what it is, but we're almost there. I am taking a dinner break. I am being a little risky here with soy sauce next to all this lovely yarn. So I'm gonna move that. But we got avocados and soy sauce and some, I think, crab soup dumplings, which is why there's all this liquid. But it is delicious. And I might grab some ice cream later. We are making progress. I don't think I'm gonna finish the cap by tomorrow, considering, I mean, I could. I think it would only take me it might take me another hour or two. Say hello to whatever the heck this is. If you look at it this way, this one's kind of coming out. So I'm going to say that this is actually the front. Right now we have a lump with legs, and I only briefly looked at the rest of the pattern. I think next I make the arms and the frills. But we have something so silly without the rest of the accessories. Oh my god, it is really big. That's forearm size now? Ah! We got something going. I did the exact spacing the eyes said in the pattern, and it looks almost too wide, but I guess I have my little child. He's a little naked, he's a little limbless. I could do the rest tonight, but it is 11, almost 11:30, so I'm gonna go finish this tomorrow.
알람보다 빨리 하품하며 일어나 눈 비비다 참네
We are back at it, and for the first time in like ever, when I was sewing on with the cotton thread, it literally didn't break on me. And it is so hard to sew with these kind of threads because this thread is literally just fuzz around like a really thin piece of string. So like if I take that out, I can literally piece out the fuzz. And then you just have a little string, which is really hard to sew when there's like splotches everywhere. I have such a hard time placing arms on the equal plane because it is often like one arm's too front or one arm's too back, and it looks completely wonky and I have to do it over and over and over and over again. But it actually looks really even. And how I can tell is if you look top down, the arms are kind of aligned. Onto the frills, which is a really exciting part because I have never done anything like this. It's kind of giving me clown vibes, but like in a classy, jester-ish kind of way. This is such a nice change of pace from working on the body or the head because those pieces had all the cotton weighing it down and it was kind of hurting my hands. But this is just working back and forth in rows, and it is no weight, and the yarn is being really, really smooth right now. Although I don't know if you can hear it a little bit. So it sometimes squeaks a little bit, which I don't know why. It might be the friction between the furs and the hook, but we are almost done. This one is a really quick accessory of the body, and I love a quick win. I also really like pieces like this because now I can say I know how to make a frill. I definitely kind of knew before because I know how to make a scrunchie, but I never put two and two together to make it something you put around your neck. I'm thinking that you could definitely create something like this and maybe use an accessory for around arms. Maybe some animals in the future could have like frilly arms along with frilly neck. I don't know if that's too many accessories, but it would be a fun experiment. And we have our frill. So now we have a circle essentially. Hopefully it fits our thing, but I can kind of chain off and now we have basically a scrunchie. She fits. I think I might have overstuffed this a little bit because I didn't realize that this was kind of used as a swivel. So I'm gonna have to take out a little bit of stuffing here just so the head or the neck can kind of fit in. But the problem is I overstuffed the neck a little bit and I already sewed it closed. There's actually no opening here anymore. There's a technique where you insert your hook into the piece and you can kind of yank out your cotton a little bit. So like I took a little bit out here. Kind of a pain, and sometimes it creates like little bits of holes in your project. So I try to avoid doing that when I can, but I didn't realize this is how we would be putting them together. I wasn't sure if I was sewing. I thought I was gonna sew the head onto the neck, but the whole point of this piece is that you can move the head. Shaping it makes it a little weird because I put the cotton kind of strategically, but that's fine. Okay. I pushed this as much down as it will go. Does she fit? Kind of. He's coming together. Oh my god. Oh, this is great. All right. We have a substantial part of this completed. Now onto the viral cap. I know they said to leave a long tail when you finish with the body so you can sew on, but I definitely didn't leave enough of a long tail because I thought it was just sewing on the head to the neck, which it is, but not in the way that I thought. So I had to actually thread some really, really thin sewing yarn onto my cotton, and surprisingly been really effective. It is a little floppy right now. I still need to tighten things, but it's on there.
That we're on the same wavelength. Oh yeah, why can't we just meet tomorrow? 난 아직도 날 찾고 있어. 매일이 난
I just finished sewing it up. I don't know if I'm going to seam in the ends just because I think I can stuff it all inside, but I just realized that I finished this and I'm like, wow. Perfect. Now I'm a jester. This is like a life-size version of what I just made for a little mushy over here. I don't remember if I forgot, but yes, his head can move. The stitching on the head is slightly wonky, but you can't really tell because everything's hidden by the frill, and it will be even more hidden by the cap. The head is also slightly indented, but that's also going to be hidden when I put the cap on his head. It's indented because every time I sewed in and out to really secure the top, it just kind of concaved it a little bit. It's almost there, guys. We're almost done. It is already 5. No, it's already 4, and I'm starting to get hungry. But it's looking pretty good. And these eyes are so pretty. They're so subtle. I have a problem. I should have guessed it when I could put the thing over my head and onto my neck. But no matter how the cap like gets smaller, it is definitely going to be way too big for the head. I don't know how it ended up being so large. This thing says to crochet 56 rows in total, and I definitely have that. The cap looks small-ish. This is definitely not small. Oh, there's no point in continuing the red if the base of the cap is too big. I also don't like how gappy it is. I took out about 3 or 4 rows and it's still a little bit too large. I use stitch markers to kind of hold them together in place for now. I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember how many rows, but I took off this much yarn from the original cap and it still feels really big. I hope this is right because I have about 30 more rows of red to put on top of this, and I do not want that to be wrong. I do not want to redo 30 rows of cap. Oh my god. Anyways, this looks close enough, I think. I think maybe it gets smaller when you add in all the cap because it goes like this. If I put the cap all the way down, it is still slightly too large somehow. But whatever. Hopefully this is okay. I looked through other people making this pattern and I didn't see any comment about pattern modifications. Fingers crossed that my modifications are working out. I am a worry wart. I'm gonna trust my gut on this. The other one was so large on the hat. Like it was almost a third bigger. And this one basically fits it properly. So I'm gonna fingers crossed and hope that we don't have to redo all of this because I will yell at someone. Drum roll, please. Bam, bam. Guys, I am so tired of mushrooms. I think this overall might have taken me 10, 12 something hours, but we finally have a finished product. I do not have the energy right now to sew on the white spots. Maybe I'll sew it on one day, maybe not, but I honestly can't look at this thing any longer. I think from this angle, he looks really good. I think I'm gonna name him Mushy. For the longest time, I thought the pattern name was Mushy, and then I found out it was just Mushroom Guy, but now he's just gonna be Mushy. He's really cute. My little child, my little child. This angle is definitely better than this angle. I don't love how cone-like it is, and honestly what I should do is frog it and just smooth it out a little bit, but it's fine. That is quite a cone. But you look at him from this angle and he looks lovely. Say hi, Mushy. You've been given birth. You can see the gorgeous little eyes. No mouth. Maybe a mouth to give him some personality. I don't know. All right. That is another project done. This literally took me all weekend. It took me so much longer than I would have ever thought. Just, you know, it's one little plushie. How long could it take? A long time, apparently. I think I need to make another version like this, though. It literally looks like a crown. Or a dipped strawberry. Happy crocheting, everyone. Bye!